Good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful day. The sun is out, not as warm as it has been, though. But it's good to see everybody tonight. So we're going to call the Elder Care Committee meeting to order, and we're going to start by approving the previous meeting minutes. So I got a motion by Mr. Beston and a second by Mr. Touche. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. So we're ready to move on. All right, we're going to move on to our current business. I see Mr. Phelan is here.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
And I'm going to start with number 1, authorizing an agreement with Core Tactics Incorporated regarding nurse consulting services.
Thank you. Mr. Slack, you could not be here, and I hope to field as best as I can any questions that...
We're sure you're going to do a great job. You always do.
I will try, or at least I can get back to anything that might be outstanding. So this is the second year of the RFP that was issued last year for consulting to make sure our clinical staff and ancillary staff are well-trained, informed of CMS guidelines and regulations, and with the ever-changing format of CMS, updated to the current...
What's CMS?
Center for Medicaid Services. Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
And New York State Department of Health, which also, work in tandem to make sure that the quality assurance guidelines are followed. So this company was retained over the last year to make sure that the health department inspections go smoothly. They inform the staff, train the staff, make sure that they are aware of the new regulations that are promulgated every year. They set up courses and guidelines on site to train people and make sure that follow through that the staff actually retain that knowledge. So going forward, it builds a much higher quality of care that can be provided for the residents.
So when you talk about health department inspections, this is something that's done on your annual basis?
Yes, they perform your annual survey. So what this company does is make sure that our staff is trained to the guidelines that are promulgated by Center for Medicaid Services, CMS, and the New York State Department of Health.
And so is there a grade that nursing homes get that certifies them up to a certain standard?
Mm-hmm.
And so if it is, can you tell me what our grade is?
Currently, I can get back to you. They issue it quarterly. So the current standard I don't have here. The largest part of that grade always, well, at least over the last couple of years, is your annual survey. Now, there's a staffing pattern grade. There's also different quality measures that are gone by to grade a nursing home. You might have heard of like the STAR system, okay, that gives you like different stars in different categories. If you'd like a full breakdown of the most current one, I can definitely have Mr. Slatke send over to the body that...
Mr. Commisso?
Has the nursing home been written up in the past year?
I believe there were deficiencies during the last survey. I know that this company has been retained to alleviate those deficiencies and going forward to stop those from continuing to happen every year that you get a deficiency, I think.
Alleviate the deficiencies, but those deficiencies occurred under their clock. Am I correct?
I'd have to get a specific timing for you.
Would you please do that?
What was that? Did you give that?
I know it was done in the later half of the year around this time. I think the survey may have happened before it, so I'd have to get that timing down for you.
Is their contract actually up at this point?
I believe it runs through the end of the month.
No, this contract is for January, the one we're looking at now is for January
Is it
19th
January?
through 12/31. So we're still under contract until, I believe, the end of December of this year. Is that correct, Kevin?
I believe so, yes. I have to look that up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
January through?
On page 4, it says, terms of the agreement shall commence upon January 1st, 2018, and continue until December 31st, 2018.
I apologize, yes, they're under contract now, and I believe that the survey happened in summer of 2017, and this RFP was a response to that.
So say again that last part?
That the annual survey happened approximately summer of last year, and this is for this upcoming year. So they haven't had their annual survey this year. That's when that, we would find out what kind of metrics have been done to.
So we have had one survey already.
In 2017, not underneath this company,
I'll talk to you.
or with the tutelage of this company.
Oh, not under this company. So when did we start with Cortec?
So the RFP, I believe, was released around this time last year, and that's why I got confused with the timing thing, Mr. Commisso. And then the contract was written from January 1 to December 31st, 2018. The annual survey happened in the summer of 2017.
With another company?
I don't believe there was one retained at that time.
Oh, okay, I see. Are there any other questions?
Well, it's really not clear. Is it possible, Madam Chairman, to table this until we get more information? We got time?
This is, what is this, October? Will that be a problem? I just want to make sure.
I think that obviously the contract runs out in December. If the committee has concerns, they can table it. I wouldn't want to run into any problems with the nursing homes progression of services under this format, so I don't know.
What if we take it before our meeting and take a look at this?
I mean-
Seems to be some open.
My suggestion would be to pass out of the committee tonight, have the commissioner provide us with the information we're requesting. In the event that we are not satisfied with what we have by the time the meeting comes, the chairman can send it back to committee. That's my suggestion for this.
Is that all right, Bill?
Yes. All right, so I'm sure that Commissioner can help us
I will
with
do
that.
whatever I can.
Okay, and we'll
So we
take,
need a motion.
okay, so can I have a motion to pass it out tonight and then, and with the understanding that we're looking forward to the information that's been requested by the members. Okay, okay, I got a motion from Mr. Beston in the second.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Any opposed?
Any none opposed? Okay, thank you. All right. All right, number 2. Authorizing an agreement with senior services. Oh, okay. Authorizing, hello, Mr. Seawood.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. And these next, what are these with them?
These are all home delivered meals,
Okay.
2, 3, and 4.
Okay, so 2, 3, and 4 are all home delivered meals. Number 2 is authorizing an agreement with Senior Services of Albany regarding home delivered meals for seniors and, go ahead, Scott.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair. Most of our items here tonight are contract renewals heading into 2019. The first 3 you'll notice are for home delivered meals. We have 3 contractors for those. Senior Services of Albany, Senior Services of Ravenna, and Peter Young Industries provide all our home delivered meal services.
Okay, so for, if we're to look at all 2, 3, and 4 together, can we do that?
I mean, I would prefer to take them individually, just so.
Okay, all right. So number 2, what we have here is for Cohoes, Green Island, Waterville, Manance, correct? And Albany, but not Arbor Hill.
City of Albany excluding the Arbor Hill District, and then the hill towns in North Bethlehem.
And so it's for 80,000 meals
Correct.
and $694,000.
Also
And
correct.
the feds have 21%, the state 69%, and the county has 10%.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is for the year 2019, January 1st through 12/31/19.
That's correct.
And so it's my understanding this is anticipated in the budget for, for next year. And so this is something that we have done as a matter of course. Can I get a motion? Motion, Mr. Bass, and second, Mr. Touche. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good. All right, number 3, senior services of Ravina home delivered meals for Ravina, Queens, and South Bethlehem.
North Bethlehem, or south? Which
Oh,
one?
sorry, authorizing agreement with senior services of Albany regarding,
Number 3 is...
excuse me, I made a mistake. I'm looking at my notes. I'm too prepared. Authorizing an agreement with senior services of Ravina regarding home delivered meals for seniors. Sorry.
Yes, same as the previous one, different zone, different provider, same service.
Okay, and this is for 14,000 meals, again for the 2019 year, $119,000. The feds have 90% and the county has 10%.
There's no state funding on this particular one?
No, so when it comes to the meals, because there's only so much funding in so many pots of funding, we split it up. We try to use as advantageously as possible our different pots of funding. For example, if I go back to the first one, Senior Services of Albany, by far our largest home delivered meal provider. We have, there's what's called the Wellness and Nutrition funding. So we use all of that funding to subsidize Senior Services of Albany. And then,
that's state money?
And then we supplement that with what's called NSIP funding from the feds and also Community Services for the Elderly funding, which is state funding. For Ravina, we use actual home delivered meal funds, what we call Title III C2 funds, which is specific to that. And then there's also the NSIP award, which is part federal as well. And then, the 10% county share.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
I'll move this.
I got a motion from Mr. Touche, can I get a second? I got a second from Mr. Camiso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, number 4, authorizing an agreement with Peter Young Industries regarding home delivered meals for seniors.
Once again, same service, different provider, different amount, and different zone.
So Colony and now Arbor Hill and Guilderland,
Correct.
all right? And with 33,000 meals for the 2019 year, and it's 292,877. So now the feds 39%, the state 51%, and again, the county has 10%.
Correct. So in this case, we utilize the remainder of our Title III C2 funding, which would be the federal as well as the NSIP funds, which is subsidized on all home delivered and congregate meals. The state would come out of the Community Services for the Elderly program, and then the leftover 10% is our match.
If you don't mind, did the members have any questions? I just have one.
I just had one question.
Go ahead, Mr. Camiso.
When you started off, you had mentioned North Bethlehem.
Correct.
What's covered? Which one covers North Bethlehem?
Senior Services of Albany.
And where's that at? What number is that?
Number
That
2,
is
Frank.
in the first.
Number 2.
Right, number 2.
Number 2
Has north.
covers South Bethlehem.
Number 2 has North Bethlehem and number 3
Oh,
has
I'm
South.
sorry, are you looking at zone or hourly number?
1 minute. I'm looking at August 24, 2018, Department of Aging.
What is he looking at?
If you look down where it says zone 5,
I see Zone 3. I don't see Zone 5.
zone 3 is a different,
Okay.
2.
Which one are you looking
the
at?
one before that.
This is 2, zone 5.
There's 3 different zones, Frank.
Yeah.
There's 3 zones. It says zone.
Which one covers North Bethlehem? That's my question.
2.
Zone 5, Senior Services of Albany.
Okay, would you please add me to that, Kevin, as a sponsor?
Add you to Frank.
use that one.
Okay, I see it here. Good.
Did you find it?
Well, Frank, yeah, Frank's question was, yes.
Okay. All right. Did you get your question answered? Okay. Anyone else? I just have one question. Can you tell me, I'm just curious, why Albany is divided between Senior Services of Albany and Peter Young?
I can. That was actually an arrangement made between the providers. It was kind of a handshake deal between Senior Services of Albany and Peter Young. Peter Young wanted the area. They like it there. They're familiar with the Arbor Hill area. They have a good reputation. They know the people there. And Monica Beckman at SSA didn't really have an issue with it. And so that's how that zone was carved out that way. It was just some history there.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? Can I get a motion? And a motion from Mr. Beston and a second from Mr. Camiso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. We're going to keep moving on here. We are now on number 5, authorizing an agreement with Senior Services of Albany regarding the provision of congregate meal services for seniors.
Yes, ma'am. This is, now we're on to the congregate meals. This is Senior Services of Albany. They have at least 8 locations as of today. Again, one of our bigger meal contracts. It's for 2019.
All right, so this is for the year 2019, $94,900. So the Fed's 22, the state 69, and the county 9%. And again, is this money divided up? Is this coming from the same pot of money too, as we go through the congregate meals money?
Yes, so congregate meals, so in this case, the federal share is that NSIP as well as what we call Title 3C1 funding, which is congregate
You said
meal funding.
this time it's 3C1?
Correct, so home delivered is what we call 3C, the bureaucratic term is 3C, Title 3C2 is home delivered, Title 3C1 is congregate. So in this case, the federal funding is a mixture of the NSIP, the Nutrition Supplemental Program, and 3C1 funding for congregate. The state would be CSE funding, community services for the elderly, and then our share is the remainder.
Can you just explain one thing to me?
I'll do my very best.
Where do the meals come from?
The actual meals,
Yes.
well, in the case of SSA, they're made at currently their Essex Street location. And then they ship them out to all the different sites.
So if I'm to understand this correctly, Senior Services of Albany is responsible for what, the delivery or the, explain to me
Yes,
if they're all made, say again?
So they're made at 20 Essex Street, which is currently their headquarters. They have a great big kitchen there, they do all their meal prep there. They have vans, they package everything up in like those trays and, they have Cambros and all that. And then they send their fleet out to all the different locations, they stay on site, they serve the meals when they get there. They use, Senior Services of Albany uses actual utensils and china plates and things like that. They take everything out with them and then wash everything back at their headquarters. Quite the operation, actually. They perform spectacularly.
Trying to bring up the difference in cost now. Okay, all right, so do I have any other questions from the, okay, great. Any questions from the members? Mr. Bullock?
I've seen the congregate meals in St. Vincent's. They're very good. They're very nutritious. Nutritionist prepares them. Damien Center applied, did they get through?
We've met with the Damien Center. Remind me to bring you up to speed
Thank you.
after the meeting. We did have a meeting with them, and it went very well. But I can bring you up to speed afterwards.
Make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Beston, second by Mr. Touche. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, so now we can move on to number 6. Number 6, authorizing the acceptance of grant funding and an agreement with the New York State Office for the Aging regarding the Health Insurance Information Counseling and Assistance Program.
Yes, ma'am, this is our ICAP program, a very popular one, unfortunately also very underfunded, but we finally received our allocation schedule and our award, so we'd like to get your approval to receive that funding from the state.
Does anybody have any questions? I do. Can you tell me how they get the counseling?
How they do the counseling?
Yes.
I can tell you who you can talk to in my office about it. It's incredibly complicated. It's very complicated. Sandy Martin in our office is our resident expert. She does wonderful, wonderful work. She helps a lot of people every day. It's basically navigating your Medicare system, Medicaid system, it's your Medigap coverages, it's all your different insurances. We actually went out and did a presentation. Sandy doesn't like to take credit, but she really did a great job. We did a presentation for the Honeywell retirees back when they had their contract dispute and all that, so they called us up and we said absolutely. We went out, we had probably close to 100 people in the room, and went over the ICAP program and all that.
Well, it sounds like...
It's very complicated. We can have that conversation sometime and get more education, but it would take a while.
Okay, this sounds like it's very beneficial to...
It is very beneficial.
All right. Do I have any other questions? Can I get a motion? Motion from Mr. Beston, second from Mr. Camiso. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving right along, we are now on number 7. Number 7, authorizing an agreement with Senior Services of Albany regarding adult day services.
Yes, ma'am. This is what internally we call this, it's a terrible acronym, we call it the SADS program, Social Adult Daycare Services. We've had this for many years. This is probably the first time that a daycare contract has come before this body, because this is the first time it actually exceeds the threshold for legislative approval. The reason for that is that Senior Services of Albany has now officially assumed the Cohoes operation. And so this is now a combination of the Newgate, which Senior Services of Albany runs, and the Cohoes daycare program as well.
So are there 2 different sites, or?
Yes, there are 2 different sites. Newgate, I believe, is up on New Scotland. I don't think I'm pointing the right way, but wherever New Scotland is, they're up there, I think, near the Buckingham area, Buckingham Street. And then Cohoes operates out of the Cohoes Senior Center.
But it's available for anyone who qualifies for the service?
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion? Motion from Mr. Besson, second from Mr. Touche. All those in favor? Aye. Are those opposed? Okay, so now we're coming up to number 8. Authorizing an agreement with Senior Projects of Ravenna regarding the provision of congregate meal services.
Yes, ma'am. This is, again, our second congregate meal provider is Ravenna. They do 3 sites. They have their own site in Ravenna, And then they do 2 satellite sites. They do Townsend Park Apartments and they do Parkview Apartments.
But is Townsend Park located in Albany?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So they do 22,000 congregate meals, feds 90% in the county, 10%. And so that's that $222,922. Any questions from our members? Can I get a motion? Motion from Frank Camiso, second from Mr. Touche. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, here's our last one. Authorizing an agreement with Colony Senior Service Centers regarding the provision of congregate meal services for seniors.
Yes, ma'am. Last but not least, our final congregate meal provider for this evening is Colony. They do 6 sites. Again, just wanted to renew their contract for 2019. Keep people fed.
I just have to ask one question. All of these congregate meals are prepared on Essex Street? Oh, they're not?
Only Senior Services of Albany.
Oh, only Senior Services of
Yep,
Albany.
Senior Projects of Ravenna makes all their food at their senior center location.
Okay,
And
good.
Colony makes all theirs at Beltram.
Okay. All right. All right, any questions from the members? Can I get a motion? Motion by Mr. Beston, second by Mr. Hogan, all those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you, motion to adjourn? Very good, thank you.